The biggest rule to all of that is keep the gig. Don't lose your gig over what you deem to be physics. You know, I had and I still have, I have a decent reputation for being a great engineer. But I think, moreover, a lot of people hire me is for consistency. Like when I was touring, it was because, you know, if it sounds this way in LA and you hire Dre, it's going to sound that same way in Mississippi. It's going to sound the same way in New York. You're going to have a consistent flow. And so, especially after you sat and rehearsed, when you know what the show is supposed to sound like, your primary responsibility is to get that, to represent the artist you're out there for. Represent, make it sound exactly like, you know, what they brought you on for. And so at that point, it has nothing to do, like Ken said, it has nothing to do with what the knob looks like. It has to all come back to what does it sound like, especially if you're flying in on a festival date. You know, on a festival date, like with Boney or Jill or any of the people I used to work with, you know, you get that sax hot and out there first. You know what I mean? Because he has an aggressive music, you know, I'm always gonna make sure my drums are sitting right. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure you hear everything, just not so aggressive. But by the time we get halfway through the first song, where, you know, you're going to be, it's going to be right, you know. But that's the big thing. Never lose a gig over what your graph is supposed to look like, you know.
Yeah, there's a Duke Ellington saying, if it sounds good, it is good, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I feel like so many of the decisions we make have to do with workflow in live sound. And it's you know, you show up, because a ton of the bands I work with, same thing, one-offs, fly-in, festivals, and you don't have time to think about the system engineering side of things. Just like plug and play, you know, you got to go, and you got to be fast and be able to get your sound together quickly. And I think, you know, if you're able to do that, you're much more hireable.
You're winning, yes.
You know, it certainly helps having like a console that you have a show built on and all that, and can roll in and just kind of like get all your inputs up in 2 seconds. But you know, I think the skill of being able to like really get a mix going quickly is such a valuable one in live sound.
Man, I'll tell you what a guy said. When I was working in a restaurant as a young buck, he said, nobody cares about the labor pains. They just want to see the baby. They do not care. You know, I've never had an artist come up and say, oh my God, I bet this was a hard room to mix in, and I bet you are exhausted right now. No. They're like, yo, Ken, was my bumping? And I'm like, yeah, I had you. Or they like, yeah, Ken, it was rocking. Or in the case of a situation where there are certain times you will know without fail. You love it when people come up because truthfully, Scott, and Dre can attest to this too, any engineer that's listening right now, more than likely, when people finish up with a show, they're trying to get backstage, I'm talking about the audience, they'll walk past us and they don't know if we're the light dude or we're the whatever dude. But let me tell you something. Let that joint sound crazy and they will seek you out to let you know it sounded crazy. So you just, I guess besides the people that come up and really recognize when they're hearing a stellar mix versus what they kind of always hear, some people will come, yo man, amazing mix. And they'll still be walking, you know. I've had people come up before a show because the opening act or the act before it sounded crazy and say, hey man, that sounded crazy. Hey, I'm not that dude. I'm mixing whoever. Now, when they start, if it sounds crazy, then you come see me. And usually people will look over during the show and be like, dude, Now, with that being said, to all the young cats and women, I don't care who you are. I don't care who tells you this. And if anyone out there tells you they've never had a bad show, they are lying to you. Look, sometimes it's just not going to be a win. It may not be your fault. It may not be anything that you are ever able to even put your hands on, because we fly in, we're on different rigs. Everything about the situation is different. It could be an errant mic, it could be whatever, but you just do the best you can in every situation. Do the best you can. At the end of the day, you'll probably have more wins than losses, but no, sometimes you're just not gonna win. Engineering is a microcosm of life. Sometimes you're just not gonna win.